got the basic idea or the knowledge about active into passive in past simple tense. Now let's go through some sentences in active, then let's try to turn them into passive and try to understand this, and let's learn through that. This is activity 12 in your lesson, that's a grammar part. Transform the following into the passive. The active voice sentences are given, we have to translate or turn them into passive. Let's see what is the first sentence here. Rahim wrote a letter yesterday. Rahim, that is the subject, he is a person who has done that. Then wrote, that is the verb in past. Rahim wrote a letter yesterday. He wrote a letter. Then what is the object? First, when we are translating or turn an active voice sentence into passive voice, when you are going through the active voice sentence, you have to find what is the subject, what is the verb and the object. So we know this is the subject, this is the verb and this is the object here. So the object is main in passive voice as we discussed. So here first we have to find what is the object. So this, in this sentence we find a letter as the object. So we can take that first and we can write the sentence like this. A letter was written by Rahim. A letter, that is the object. Then after the object in passive voice we have to take the helping verb. Because this is passive voice, past simple tense, we have to take was or were. So a letter is singular, one thing. Then we have to take was from the helping verb. Then a letter was written. Why we are using written here? The verb is given here, wrote. Why can't we use it like wrote or write? Because we know in passive voice the verb must in past participle. So the verb write we have written here as wrote because this is past. But in passive voice we have to write it in past participle because that is the rule of passive voice. So here write, wrote, written is the past participle of verb write. So here we have written it like a letter was written by Rahim. Rahim is the person who has done this. Either you can just write this one or without this also you can write the sentence. Then you can write it like a letter was written. If you no need to mention the doer, you can write it without by Rahim. Then the sentence is a letter was written, only that part, a letter was written. But if you feel that you won't just mention about Rahim, you can write it as a letter was written by Rahim. So in active voice sentence, it's like Rahim wrote a letter yesterday. So here you can write it, a letter was written by Rahim yesterday or just Rahim. Okay, let's move to the next one. The dog bit the man. Who is the doer in this sentence? That is the dog. The dog is the animal or the thing that who has done the action. So the dog, what it has done, bit, bite. Then in past it is bit. Then the dog bit the man. The man. So we have to find the object. What is the object here? The man. Then we have to take that first and we can write the sentence like this. The man was beaten by the dog. The man. The dog bit the man. So the man is the object. So we can take that front. So the man, that is the object. The man is singular. The helping verb what we can use is was or were. From that, if the the object is singular, we can use was. Then the man was beaten. Bite, that is present. Bit, past. Then beaten is the past participle. So the man was beaten by the dog. That is how we have to turn that into passive voice. Then let's move to the third sentence. The police arrested the thieves. Who arrested the thieves? Police. So that is the subject. Then what they have done? Arrested, that is a verb. The police arrested whom? The thieves. Then that is the object. So we have to take the object first. Then we can write it like this. The thieves, that is the object. The thieves. Then the thieves is plural. Then the helping verb what we can take here is not was, were. We have to take were. Then the thieves were arrested. Arrest, arrested, arrested. The verb in past and past participle both are same. So the thieves were arrested by the police. They are the people who has done the action. So the thieves were arrested by the police. Fourth one. Okay, now here we can see a different style of a sentence. It is a question. Here we just discussed about normal sentences. This is a question, integrative. So, did he paint the window? From the word did, we know this is about something which has happened in the past. So, did he paint? The verb, after we use the word did to mention that this is a past tense one, we are keeping the verb in present. So, did he is the subject here. Did he paint the window? We have to find out the object first. So, we are finding it as the window. Then we are turning that into passive voice. But here you have to keep in your mind, you can't make a normal sentence here, you have to ask a question. So earlier in these sentences, we wrote the helping verb after the object. But when we are asking a question, we have to take the helping verb first. So here we are taking was the window. Why? Why did I use was? Because the object is the window, that is singular. So I have to use was as the helping verb. Was the window painted? Verb is in past participle. Paint, painted, painted. So, was the window painted by him? Then you have to keep a question mark. You have to write a question mark end of the sentence. Let's move to the fifth sentence. They did not borrow the books. Again, you can see this is a negative form of past simple tense. This sentence is from negative idea. This is regarding a negative idea. They did not. Did not. That means past. They did not. They did not borrow the books. So, they did not borrow the books means we have to write the negative of this passive voice. So, we will see what is the answer for that. The books, we know that is the object here. As we discussed, we have to find the object first. So, the books is the object. Books is plural. So, we have to take helping verb were. When we are making negative using helping verbs, we know that we have to add this word with the helping verb. So, here I have used it as were not, or you have to use was not, but this object is plural. So, the books, I am using the helping verb as were, then I am adding the word not to express this is a negative idea. So, the books were not, then the verb in past participle. Borrow, borrowed, borrowed. The past participle is borrowed by them. So, this is how we have to turn the active voice sentences into passive voice in past simple tense. Let's move to some more examples. Again, we were given a question. Did Yoga invite you to the party? Did Yoga invite you to the party? Did is the question from here. Did invite. Then who? What is the subject here? Yoga. Then did Yoga invite you to the party? Here you can see the object is you. Right? Yoga has invited you. So, here we have to take you as the object. So, and we know that this is a question form as we discussed earlier. We have to take the helping verb first. So, Were you invited? Were is the question that when we are asking a question using passive voice, the helping verb has to be taken to the front. So, were is there and we have to use that because the object is you. So, were you invited? Invited. Then, were you invited? That is verb in past participle. Were you invited to the party by yoga? That is a by subject. Right. 7th one. Somebody helped me when I fell down. Now, in earlier sentences, I mentioned the doer using by plus subject. But here, the doer, the person who has done this action is mentioned as somebody. So, if it is a word called like somebody, someone, in that case, it's not actually no need to mention by someone. We are not writing like that this action has done by someone. We are not writing that. So, here you can just write like this without mentioning by plus subject. You can just write the passive voice like this. Somebody helped me. Somebody helped me. Helped is the past verb. Somebody helped me when I fell down. So, me is the object here, right. So, here we can take it as in passive voice I. I was helped. I was helped. Someone helped me. So, in passive voice we turn that into I. I was, because the helping verb is was, we have taken the object as I. So, I was helped, verb in past participle. I was helped when I fell down. When I fell down, someone helped me. The same idea is given here. I was helped when I fell down. But here we no need to mention someone. Okay, the 8th one. The teacher corrected the books. The teacher is the doer. She is the person who has corrected the book. What she has done? Corrected the books. That is the verb. Corrected. The books. That is the object. So, we can take the object first. The books. The books, and the books is plural. The books were. So, if it is plural, we have to take were. The books were corrected. Verb in past participle. The books were corrected by the teacher. The teacher is the person who has done that. Okay. Next one. Inura found a purse in the library. Who found it? Inura. So, Inura is the subject. And what he has done? He found something. So, verb is found. Inura found. What he has found there? He has found a purse. So, what is the object here? Purse. So, we can take the object first. That is a purse. A purse means that is singular. So, we can take a purse was. Then, we have to use the verb in past participle. The same thing, found. Find, found, found. Then, a purse was found by Inura in the library. You can write that, the sentence like that. A wild elephant destroyed the crops yesterday. A wild elephant. Who has done the action? A wild elephant. So, he is the doer of this action. And what he has done? He has destroyed. So, this is the verb in past. He destroyed what? The crops yesterday. So, what is the object here? The crops. So, you can write it first. The crops, then it is plural. So, you have to take were as the helping verb to mention it is past. So, the crops were, then the verb in past participle destroyed. Then the crops were destroyed by a wild elephant. By a wild elephant. So, he is the person who has done the action. So, I hope that when we were going through these examples, you got a clear idea about how to convert active voice past simple tense into passive voice past simple tense. In active voice, we take the subject first. Subject is important to us, but in passive voice, object is important to us. along with the object we take the verb in past participle. And when we are talking about active voice sentence, we use the structure as subject, verb, object. But in passive voice, we have to take the object first. We give the main the important to the object there. Then after mentioning the object, we have to use a helping verb regarding the tense, and to the object we are using the helping verb. So in past simple, we are using was over as the helping verb. So you can go through the object and identify whether it is singular or plural. Then you can write was over as the helping verb. Then after the helping verb, you can use the verb in past participle. Then you can write by plus subject. So that is what we have to learn under this topic, active voice into passive voice in past simple tense. I hope that you got a clear idea about this. You just try to find some active voice past simple sentences and try to turn them into passive voice. Then you can learn more about this tense. The lesson what we are going to learn today is very important to you, because this is something comes to your paper. This is a part which is given much marks to you. So this lesson what we are going to learn today is very important to you, and you have to go through that and you have to put more effort to understand this part. How you are giving some ideas or messages to your friends, or even your parents or your principal, teacher, the people who are meeting you day to day life. Now in the present, we have different ways to convey a message, to pass any idea or pass a message to people who are around us. Like we can use phone messages, you can just send a message. You can use social medias to pass a message, or you can use internet, email, those kind of medias are there to pass a message. Sometimes you can pass a message through an advertisement, leaflet, a notice. There are different ways to pass a message to person. But earlier, now also we are using this, but earlier mostly we used this to pass a message to someone. Letters. Earlier, if you want to give a message, or if you want to ask from someone who's far away from you about their life, how's going on, we use letters to give the message or to get the message. But now it's very quick, we need only few minutes to call someone or send a message, or social media is there to convey a message. But earlier we use letters. This is what we are going to learn now, letters. Have you ever written a letter to someone? I hope that you have written letters in many cases. Can you just write a letter to your friend, and can you use the same way of writing a letter to a friend, to a principal or a teacher? Or if you are just writing a letter to someone who works in a company, or you just imagine to a boss or a person who works in government officials, if you want to request something from the government, there are many moments where there are many situations that we have to write letters. But can you write the same way? Can you use the same way to write a letter to a friend as well as an official? No, you have to use different ways. There are different ways to write letters to persons who are very close to us, who are friendly with us, as well as to the people who works in companies. I mean the professional letters also there. So the letters are divided into two. The letters are divided into two. We call them formal letters as well as informal letters. When we are writing a letter to a friend, our relation, or someone who's friendly with us, we can use the way of writing an informal letter. The structure of an informal letter can be used when you are writing a letter to your friend. But you just imagine you are writing a letter to a person who works in a company, who works in government office to request something, to ask something. We can't use the same method what we used to write a letter to a friend. At that time, you had to use the way of writing a formal letter to convey the message. So, under this topic, letters, we have to discuss two different types of letters. The first one is formal letter and the other one is informal letter. The significant points of difference between formal and informal letters are discussed as under. Now, we are going to discuss how to write a formal letter as well as how to write an informal letter. What is a formal letter? Formal letters are written for official or professional communication. That's where we use formal letters, formal type of letters. Formal letters are written for official or professional communication. Then, informal letters. A letter is said to be informal, or what is informal letter is when it is written in a friendly manner, or when we are writing a letter to a friend, to someone you are familiar with. The ways are different, no? When we are writing a letter to a friend and when we are writing a letter to an official is different. So, in this case, we are using two kind of formats and two different types of letters, and that's what we are going to learn in this lesson. Those two types of letters are called formal and informal, as we discussed. Formal letters are what? We are writing to officials or professionals, and informal letters are what we are writing to friends or our relations. First, we are going to talk about informal letters because that is what very familiar with us, what we are writing from our childhood, because as a child, very rarely we are writing to a letter to official. We used to write letters to our pen friends who are far away from us, or to our friends whom we can't meet day by day, and to the neighbors or the relations who are there, who live in far away. We used to write letters. So, let's start from informal letters. First, we have to learn the format of informal letters. Even though you are writing an informal letter, there is a format. You just can't write it as a notice. We have already learned about notice. You can't pass a message as writing a notice. So, there is another format, another way of writing an informal letter. So, in this part, we are going to learn the format of informal letter. Format of an informal letter. Let's see what is the first topic, or what is the first thing we have to write in a letter. Sender's address. You just imagine you are the person who is writing the letter. So, you are the sender. First, you have to write your address from where you are writing this letter. So, first when you are writing an informal letter, first you have to mention sender's address, that means your address. If I am writing a letter to someone, if I am writing a letter to my friend, first I want to mention my address. After writing the address, I have to write the date, when I am writing this date. It is very important. So, after mentioning the sender's address, after mentioning my address, I have to write the date. What is the date, month and year. Then third one, salutation. How you are going to call your friend. That is what called salutation. How you are calling your friend. So, that is the word called salutation. After discussing this structure, we are discussing an example for a letter. So, there we can discuss about salutation more than this. Body of the letter, what you want to tell, what you want to ask from your friend. That is, you have to include in the body of the letter. So, the body of the letter you can write using like 2 paragraphs or 3 paragraphs, more than writing it in one paragraph. Then it is very easy to the reader when he is reading it. So, you can use the body of the letter using 2-3 paragraphs. Then ending, how we are going to end the letter. So, this is the format. These are the topics what we have to use, what we have to write when we are writing an informal letter. Okay, now let's go to an example and discuss about this. Either you can write all these things in your left side. You can use all these parts what we learned earlier, that means sender's address, date, then salutation, body of the letter and ending, all those 5 parts starting from the left side. Or you can just move the address and date to your right side, because this is an informal letter. So, no harm, you can use both sides, either left or right. So, first as we discussed, we have to write the sender's address. So, this is what the sender's address. The person who is sending this letter, this is his address, 29 Palm Beach Road, Mumbai. After mentioning his address, he can just keep a line there. Then he can write the date, the second one of our format, 10 December 2012. Then third one, salutation. How you are calling your friend, dear Vicky or Vikram or whatever. You can use dear to say that you are very friendly with him, dear Vicky. So, that is what called salutation. After writing that, you can put a comma here. Okay, then we are just jump to the next line. We are not going to continue from here. We just keep a line here, then we are jump into the next line. Then you can write, you can ask or you can express the idea what you think about your friend. Whether you can ask how are you, hope you are fine, like that you can just give a start to the letter. So, here it was started like, I hope this letter finds you in the best of spirits. More than asking just how are you, hope you are fine, more than that part you can just use something different part like this. So, I hope this letter finds you in the best of spirits. So, after that he has started the letter, then he has written the things, the ideas or the messages what he wants to give to his friend. When I visited you last week, you seemed a bit depressed. Come on boy, you should thank God for giving you a fresh lease of life. Here you can see a part. Come on boy. It's just like when we are talking to a friend. So, here you have to keep that in your mind, because this is informal letter, we can use these kind of parts. Other than that, you can't, in a formal letter, we don't go to write these kind of parts. So, I talked to your doctor this morning and he told me that you are now out of danger. Now, here this friend wants to know something about his sick friend. So, the details about him, how is he and what he knows about the friend. So, those kinds are there inside this body. You will have to remain in the hospital for a few more days, but that is not something you should be concerned about. Don't forget that life is a mixture of joy and sorrow. So, you can just express your feelings, all the ideas what comes to your mind, because this is an informal letter. By the way, all of us have decided to celebrate your recovery. We will be throwing a small party to the day you come back home from hospital. So, this is what I said you, the body. The body of the letter can be consisted of 3 paragraphs. You can use 3 paragraphs or 2 paragraphs. Here they have the writer who has written this letter, for the body he has used 3 paragraphs. So, here he has given all his ideas, and if he wants to ask some questions from his friend, he is including that as well. So, from in this body we are passing all the messages what we want to discuss. Then finally, you can give an ending. So, this is the 4th part, the body of the letter. Then finally, you can end the letter, ending. More than writing just who wrote this, Rahul. More than just writing that, you can write see you soon, kind regards, your friend, Rahul, like that you can just give a good ending to the letter. So, this is the way, this is the format, or this is the structure of writing an informal letter. So, here we discuss you can use 5 topics. Under 5 topics you can write, or you can write the format of a letter. First we discuss you have to write the sender's address. Then after the sender's address you can write the date when you are writing the letter. Then you have to give the salutation. You have to call your friend. Then after that you can write the letter. We call that the body of the letter. Then finally you can end the letter, or you can give an ending to the letter. So, this is the way of writing an informal letter. You have to keep in your mind the 5 different topics which comes under informal letter, and how you can write it, what are the things you can include in a letter, and it's very easy to write an informal letter. Then let's move to the official letters or formal letters. Let's see how we can write a formal letter and how it differs from an informal letter. During the last part of the lesson, we discussed about informal letters, how to write an informal letter and what is the structure of that, the format of the informal letter. Now, in this part, we are going to learn about formal letters. Now, we call them professional letters or official letters, how to give a message to an official, how to send a letter giving a message. So, here the topic is format of a formal letter. Format of a formal letter. This is the topic what we are going to learn. And we discussed earlier, formal letters are written not to friends, not to relations. Formal letters are written to officers, officials, or we call them as professional letters. So, there should be a format, and thoroughly we have to follow the format. In that informal letters, you just use whatever you can write. You can write anything what you want when you are writing a letter to friend, an informal letter. But here informal letters, you have to keep in your mind the important points what you want to give, what you want to pass. The message you have to write in a proper way. Not only that, there is a proper format, there is a way of writing a formal letter. So, let's see what is the format of a letter. What we have to write first? Sender's address. In informal letters, this is same. We wrote the sender's address first. If you are writing the letter, you have to write your address. Then we call that sender's address. In the formal letter also the same. First you have to write the sender's address. Then this is also the same as informal letter. After writing sender's address, you can write the date. But when we are moving to the third one, here you have to write receiver's designation and address. When you are writing a letter to your friend, you can just call using his name. If your friend is Kamal, you can say, dear Kamal. But when we are writing formal letters, we don't use their personal names. We use the designation of that official, because the person can be changed but the designation is there. So, in the formal letter, instead of the name of the person, we use designation. After that, you can write the address. You are sending this letter to an office or a department, a government department or association or whatever. It is an office. So, you can write the address of that place or address of that person whom we are mentioning here, the designation. Under that you can write the address. Then salutation. The salutation what we used in informal letter is different. More than that, here we use a different way of calling the person, the salutation. Then you have to write the topic. When we are writing a formal letter, we are not writing any topic, because we are not discussing about particular thing. We talk about anything what we want. But in formal letters, we are talking about particular thing. So, first of all, you have to write the topic and it should be underlined one. then the person who's reading the letter, when he reads the topic, he knows regarding what this letter is. So it is a must to write the letter topic, then underline that. Then body of the letter. In the informal letter also there is a body of a letter. You can write whatever you want, but in a formal letter you have to just point out, just target the message what you want to convey. So body of the letter, which usually consists of 3 paragraphs. Here we are not going to write like an essay. 4-5 paragraphs are not going to written here. We are just writing 3 paragraphs, that will be enough. You can just give the introduction regarding what you are writing this letter, then the part what you want to mention there and what you want. So you can divide the body into those 3 parts, and you can write those 3 in different 3 paragraphs, and you can use that as a body of the letter. Then finally ending is there. You have to end the letter. Okay, these are the points what we are talking, or this is the format, these are the topics which comes under a formal letter. Let's go through them again. Sender's address. First we have to write the sender's address, then date when you are writing the letter, then receiver's designation and address, to whom you are writing this letter, and the address. Then salutation, it is different from informal letter. Then underlined topic, regarding what you are talking, and the topic should be underlined. Then body of the letter, what you are including in the letter, it can be consist with 3 paragraphs. Then finally you can give the ending. Okay, let's move to a letter, an example, then let's discuss about these points. Okay children, we discussed about the formal letters as well as informal letters, and when we are coming to this activity, there was a table. They have mentioned that there is a table given below, and we have to fill the important details there. So let's go to that table. Right, here these are the topics. These are the topics which were there in the format. So they have given the topics and we have to fill the answers. So this kind of question can be come to your exam as well, to write a letter, or if they will give a letter and you have to select the important points and you have to mention them. So let's see. Sender's address, Gurulugama Vidyalaya, Kalaniya. The sender's address was that. Then date was 20th January 2018. Receiver's designation, the person who is receiving the letter, his designation, the Director General. He was the Director General of that authority. Then receiver's address, Port Authority, Galle. That is the address. Salutation, can you remember the salutation here? We call as dear sir. So that is the salutation. So we have mentioned it here. Dear sir is the salutation. Then topic, regarding what we wrote this letter. We wrote this letter requesting to visit a place. So request for permission to visit the Galle port. We want the permission to visit the place. Then complimentary clause. How you give the ending? Complimentary. What is the complimentary you gave? Yours faithfully. Your friend. In an informal letter you can use it like that. Oh, here we have used it as yours faithfully. Right? Here sender's name. Who wrote this letter? Rusit Jayaratna wrote this letter. So he is the sender. And where he is working as the secretary. Sender's designation. Sender's designation was Secretary of Environmental Society. So these are the topics we had to go through in that formal letter, and these are the answers regarding our example. So this is about formal letters and informal letters. I hope that you got a clear knowledge regarding formal letters and informal letters.